Hi, and welcome to the, I think it's the 22nd video of Old Guys, Gentlemen Flippers. I'm downstairs in my fire trap of a basement with a washing machine and a heater in the background, so sorry for the poor audio quality. I'll try and speak up a little bit. This is going to be two parts. The first part is what difference do angles make in the edge? And what I mean by that is what difference do small increments, 1/10 of a degree at a time, make? I was thinking about that because the next part that I wanted to do is I had gotten these Gridomatic stones here, and I was noticing that the quality edge was different than what I had experienced with the diamond stones here. Now, how I got from that to worrying about the edge, but in any case, I've gone through a lot of trouble, as you've seen maybe in some of my other videos, where I've taken the handle off of this based on what somebody else has done. I put it on a vise. I got this in here, so the plane of this is equal to the plane of that, or within a 1/10 of a degree anyhow. And I did that by putting a straight edge ruler in here, this thing, and then checking the two, and I have enough confidence now that if I zero it out here, whatever angle I measure on top of here will be within a 1/10 of a degree of what I'm looking for. But then it occurred to me, I've been putting so much faith in this angle cube by eye gauging. I was wondering, well, what's the accuracy on it? Because it reads down to 5/100ths of a degree. And when I'm going from one stone thickness to the next, I am trying to make changes in the angle to reflect the thickness for very small thicknesses. And I always try, if I'm going for, let's say, 19 degrees, I try and get 19.00 all the time. Or maybe what I might do is as I go up in finer and finer grit sizes, maybe I'll increase that by 0.05 or 0.1 just to make sure that I'm getting the edge, and a little bit of convexing is great. So I looked up this, and it's accurate despite the fact it can read within 0.05 degrees. It's only accurate to plus or minus 0.2 degrees. In fact, almost all of the ones under $100 that I could find for small units like this that fit on here were in about the same category. So what do I do with that? I'm just going to continue to, I'm going to ignore that accuracy. I'm going to continue it, use it like some fine instrument. And what this experiment is going to be about is I'm going to blacken the edge with a magic marker. And at what I have for a reading here that I'll show you, I'll set it up for 19 degrees. I will, just for the width of this stone, what is this? This is the 600 grit diamond stone. I'm going to take some of that blacking off, and we're going to see on here where it's sharpening. Now, I think I've made this shallower than the knife blade. I think the knife blade is a little bit over 20 degrees. So we should be able to get a good comparison, because then what I'll do next is I'll switch over to, well, I'll keep the stone the same, but I'm going to increase it based on this, 1/10 of a degree, and do that right next to it. Yeah, I'm going to run out of knife space. Then what I'll do is I'll come back and I'll do 0 again, and then I'll do 0.2 degrees. I'll blacken it again, go back to 0, 0.3, and I'll go up to like 0.5. And what I do at each point is I have this cool little USB microscope that I can get in close to where I want it and then tap on it, and I'll get an image, and I'll leave it up on the screen of the video for a while. Alright, so first things first, let's see where we're at. You can't read this, but it's 0, and I always 0 just to be sure. I'll put it up here. And you can't read it, but it says 19 degrees. So let's go ahead and blacken it. And I'll keep it kind of in the center so that so I'm working with a straight edge here, and we're not having to deal with the curving of the blade or anything like that. Okay. Well, I might have to go shallower than that. I will speed this up. Okay, so I had to make some adjustments because evidently I had sharpened this thing down to like 17 degrees or so, and it didn't give me enough of a view of what's going on. So I brought it down to as low as I can go without reversing this feature right here. And it's reading 15.2 to 15.3 degrees. Let's say it's 15.2, okay? And I have to re-blacken this. And I think what I can do, I was going to do side-by-side comparisons, but I think what I'll do is I can do that in the video, and I can put one of the pictures next to the other for each one of the angles so you can see. That way I don't have to do a 0-degree angle over and over again. So you can see I'm not all the way down there, and let's do a picture of it. I'm going to put it right up against the blade in the center. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll be posting a picture of it. Let's get the maximum area here. Okay, so that's 15.2 degrees, and I got that picture. All right, so let's re-blacken it. One, four. Okay. So that is 15.3. Now we'll go to 15.4. Blacken it again. And we'll do 15.5. Next, 15.6. We'll do 15.7. Let's do 15.8. This is 15.8. Let's go to 15.9. This is 15.9. And then we'll finalize it with 16.0. All right, so I'll post these upstairs and we'll take a look at them. Okay, so here we have a comparison of the edge views for each of the 1/10 of a degree differences that I tried to put on the sharpener. And before I go too far with conclusions, I would have to say that all my science professors are probably rolling over in their graves right now thinking we brought you up better than this. but this is the best you get for the tools and time that I've got. The assumptions were that the measuring device I have, which has a stated accuracy of plus or minus 0.2 degrees, and I'm trying to look at results every 1/10 of a degree. I guess I have a little bit more faith in the measuring device because I made these incremental changes, and you can see as you progress from 15.2 to 15.3 to 15.4, etc. You can see the progression as the angle increases and works its way down towards the apex of the blade. So I have more faith in that angle cube than the plus or minus 0.2 degrees. I think around the 0.8, 0.9, 6, and the 16, maybe in the 15.7, there wasn't as much of a progression, but on the average it progressed towards the edge. Alright, so enough for excuses. The main question was, should I be concerned over a 1/10 or 2/10 or even 3/10 of a degree, because that's the kind of variation that I would see if I flipped the knife over. I didn't do that in this experiment. Or I think sometimes the 0.2 degrees inaccuracy comes into play. And if you look at any of these and say, let's say the difference between 0.2 and 0.4, there's not that much. or 0.5 and 0.7. So I guess I would say as long as you keep it to around 0.2 or 0.3 of a degree variation, you're not going to see that much an impact on the blade. So as you go from stone to stone and you're trying to set the same angle, I think what little variation that is there probably will be ground away, and you'll see that if you're checking for the burr. Later on with the finer stones, you don't see the burr. I don't even think you can feel the burr. So at that point, you may have your sharp edge already and you're just prettying it up. So I'm okay with my tools, except that there could be as much as plus or minus 0.2 degrees accuracy, and I think I've come to the conclusion, so what? it all works. So I think it was a valuable experiment for me. I hope you got some value out of this. I tried to speed up some parts that got a little monotonous. It's probably still a little bit too long, but I think that's it for part A of the angle. The next part will be covering the differences between the KME diamond stones using the Chaucer water stones with them, and the newer Gritomatic. I think I'm saying that right. Gritomatic stones from Russia. So that's it. Thank you.